Alright, how many things come in wrappers, cans, and bottles? The answer is most everything. And as humans, we're pretty much living to consume. But where do all those wrappers, cans, and bottles end up? The obvious answer should be a trash can or recycling bin, but the more realistic one is underneath us. When people literally don't understand how bad these products really are for our planet ecosystem, something's tossed out the window, it doesn't just disintegrate like most people think. It takes, unless it's like an apple core or banana peel, this takes a couple months, but a cigarette, we'll take a cigarette butt, takes 12 years to disintegrate, and everything we have today is plastic, so if anything you put outside, up to hundreds of years even for most things. When it comes to littering, out of sight, out of mind should not be the mentality. People need to, go the extra distance to find a trash can, or to, just think twice. Or they put ashtrays in cars for reasons. Today, I'm here to inform you about the harmful effects that littering has on our planet, why people litter, and how, and what's being done to stop the littering problem today. When it comes down to it, people that litter are just lazy. Littering is polluting the world we live in, and it's polluting the world that we want our children to live in. What type of future do we expect to give our generations when we are pretty much defecating where we eat? It should be clear to people that littering does not help anyone or anything. It's bad to both people and the animals. So by people being lazy, they're doing more damage than they know or probably even intend to do. As stated by Timothy Klein in Litter Facts and Research, litter can cause a whole range of problems for everyone in the community. Litter discarded in the streets and parks can travel through stormwater systems in our bays and oceans where it can be harmful to wildlife and us. He also tells us that littering costs money. Removing litter from parks and neighborhoods or business districts is just the taxpayers' money. You're just paying to pick up your own trash in the long run. Litter can be a fire hazard. Too much trash in one area or the wrong trash or hazardous materials will start a fire. The cigarette butts are a big issue. Cigarette butts in California are the #1 littered item, which doesn't make sense because, like I said, they do put trash cans ash cans going into major buildings, and they do have designated smoking areas. If you choose to go there, there are trash cans. Litter harms our waterways, organic matter, and things such as dog remains, leaves, and grass clippings are still pollutions and should not be swept into storm drains. The big question is why? Why litter when we know the damages it causes? Why litter when it's so easy for one person to make a difference? There does not seem to be one reason people decide to throw their trash on the ground. It's not something you're born with. It's not a disease. Some of the reasons people choose to litter are the following. Anthony Fitzhugh in Litter Prevention tells us that laziness is the #1 answer to littering. More than half of the littering occurs literally within 5 meters of the trash can. Deliberate action often isn't, littering isn't just usually a mistake, it's usually someone who is doing it on purpose. Those people can be called wedgers. Wedgers are litterers that stuff or wedge their little litter in small places such as gaps between seats so it will not be seen, or undertakers, which Anthony Fitzhugh tells us are litterers that cover or bury their litter under soil, sand, or leaves, like little kids. Another big thing are the designs and the location of garbage cans. You can't fill a huge community with just public garbage cans, but in smoking areas or in places where you purchase food, there usually are trash cans. So if you sit and eat lunch wherever you ate the food, it's usually easier to throw your trash away. Habit and forgetfulness is another one of the biggest things. Get in the habit of throwing something out the window, or you smoke a cigarette, you drop it out your window, it becomes second nature. And then every cigarette you smoke is out the window. Most of the reasons listed here are not ones out of necessity, but out of laziness. If we decide to continue on the path, we are causing irreversible damage. So next time you find yourself in a wedge or undertaker position, think twice and take 2 seconds to peek around the corner where you'll find a trash can or a recycling bin. Your kids will someday thank you. Now that we've looked at what litter is and why those that litter feel the need to, we can now look at possible solutions to help end our never-ending battle with litter. As the options are presented to you, I want you to think how easy it is for you to make this difference and for you to make this change. In litter reduction, UBC waste management, we are told to use garbage cans properly and provided. Make sure your waste goes in the garbage can, don't step back and shoot it or turn your head and throw it. Make sure it goes in. Take your litter home. When visiting parks or gardens, you go out to eat at a park, take a picnic basket, you know, so you can trash cans, pack it back up in the basket, take it home, and find a recycling bin. Also, if you leave trash in parks, a lot of the animals use it, like birds will come by and pick them up, or raptors, or anything like that. Always put garbage in the garbage can, don't flush it away. All the litter you do flush away in toilets or storm drains or any of the soap you use to wash your car all ends up in the ocean and all in turn damages our ecosystem. Again, you never want to sweep grass or leaves or other waste in the gutters, just because it is still considered a litter. And again, wash your cars on grass, never on a sidewalk or on a slope where the soaps or anything you use to wash your car could run into the storm drain. Always dispose of unwanted chemicals responsibly, never pour them down drains, such as paint thinners, pharmaceutical drugs, garden pesticides. When you can, go into the grocery store, you want to use a cloth bag. I mean, you see a lot of, or not a lot, but more people than used to with cloth bags, and they go and they reuse them every time. It's safe from using plastic. Washing detergent, you want to try to use washing detergents that contain no phosphates. Phosphates will in turn hurt the environment. And make sure, one of the biggest things is when you walk your dog, you always want to, you know, have your little bag with you so wherever you go, you don't want to cause a problem. It just looks bad. In conclusion, litter is an important environmental issue. It is amazing that 94% of people identify litter as a major environmental problem, and yet still litter. Carelessly discarded garbage affects every member of our society. It causes harm to people and animals, damages our waterways, costs us money, and suggests that we do not care for our environment. Fortunately, people like me and you can do something to prevent, and maybe one day end litter.
So Shelby, what did you think?
I like how he told us how long it takes for things to disintegrate. I thought he filled some lotion a lot and made me feel like I wanted to go pick up trash. I like the quote about laziness and that slang term wedgers. I thought that was interesting, and I like how he referred back to it. I like how he told us how we're not supposed to put, you know, trash down the toilet and, you know, different things that we can do to help the environment. So I thought the structure was good too, and the way he was talking felt really natural.
Okay. The rhetorical question, the visualization that you have at the beginning is fine. I thought you had a very clear statement of what your goal is. Everything is laid out ahead of time. I do think that you need to do a little bit more signposting as you're going through the structure of the speech. Early on, you provide us with some information about littering and about the dangers. I think you needed to develop those a little bit more to create additional motivation. Again, some examples or illustrations, or you talked about the costs of littering, for instance. If there was some information about what a small town spends on litter removal or having to do cleanup on in their own parks, for instance, or how much extra it's going to cost taxpayers, something like that. I think that that would help quantify the point that you're trying to make. Maybe a personal story about walking down the street and stepping in dog poo on the sidewalk and wondering what the heck was somebody thinking here. Just some or other things that kind of make it a little bit more personal, as opposed to just like, here's a public service announcement for everybody. I think that that would help. I thought you did a nice job talking to the audience, especially at the start of the speech. You're doing a good job speaking to people. You have to go to your notes a few times, but you're not, I don't think, overly dependent on those notes. In fact, sometimes it seemed like they were there just as a crutch for you to go to, and you didn't really need them. You probably could have gotten by with a much smaller outline, maybe even on a single index card, or even without it, because most of what you're talking about, except for a couple of quotes, I didn't think you needed to have any additional reference to. A few suggestions about the solutions. There was one point where it sounded like you were finishing up the speech right before you got to all the solutions. It sounded like, oh, he's done. And then you said, and now the solutions are, oh, I guess he's not done. And when you watch back, I think you'll be able to detect both in your voice and in what you were talking about why that came across that way. Yeah, I thought it was interesting about the wedgers and the undertakers. I thought that was an interesting concept there.